What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Rangers Central. We are going to talk about game 62 of the regular season, where the Rangers 2 to the Florida Panthers. And I don't know. This game just went pretty much how I expected it to be honest. In terms of the fact that the Panthers were just going to make this a tight checking game, and that's what this was pretty much the entire night. And the Panthers at 5v5 controlled most of the play. The Rangers got a couple power play goals, and that's pretty much all she wrote. But before we jump into everything, be sure to leave a like on the stream here if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel. But yeah, I don't know really what there is to say with this game, honestly. There's really not a lot to talk about. Really not a lot to talk about, and that's the unfortunate part. The Rangers, like I said, their offense came from the power play. And if they weren't getting offense from the power play, they were not generating enough quality looks at 5v5, and that's what lost them the game. They did not generate anything pretty much actually at 5v5 when it comes to this game, and it blows my mind how it's just impossible for another line to step up when the second line doesn't. It's just impossible for that to happen, and that's what we saw tonight. Will Cooley had a power play goal, which was nice to see. It was nice to see Kreider get a rebound goal. Nice to see them get goals just down low in general and get some rebound goals. But again, there needs to be way better play at 5v5. The first line was it was non-existent the entire night. Yet again, it felt like. The fourth line had a couple decent shifts. VC had probably the best looks when it came to the 5v5 chances the Rangers did get. The problem is that Jimmy VC is more likely than not going to net the puck, because that's just not what he does. And that's us knock on Jimmy VC, because he's been good for the Rangers this year. But at the same time, let's be honest here, that's just not his game. He's not going to bury the 5v5 chances at all. The second line had a couple of decent chances, but again, they weren't scoring. And this was pretty much Florida's way of saying, step into my show, step into what we're doing here, because Florida, they were the team that dictated the way 5v5 was played in this game. They suffocated the Rangers in the neutral zone. The Rangers had no answer to get through the neutral zone. Stop me if you've heard that one before. 2017 against the Ottawa Senators, 2012 against the New Jersey Devils, 2023 against the New Jersey Devils once they made an adjustment. And they lost to a coach that just got fired today, by the way, as well. And they were up 2-0 in that series. Have I ever mentioned that here? I don't think I have. Tampa Bay, too. But again, they get beat by not getting through the neutral zone. And that's what we saw tonight. Igor Shesterkin let up a terrible goal in the third period that he can't let up. He can't, and I don't care if Trouba was screening him. That was a really weak wrist shot, and it was far out enough that Igor Shesterkin had time to get over and stop that one. I don't want to hear excuses. That was terrible, and I'm not going to blame Igor at all, because Florida did get quality looks, and Igor's been a rock for the Rangers ever since the All-Star break, because at the end of the day, it's hard to blame Igor when the team produced nothing at 5v5, where most of the game is played come playoff time, especially, which the refs were horrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat that either. I didn't like the way the refs called the game. The fact that there was a missed hook before that third goal on the Florida one with Lomberg, there was clearly a missed hook before the play on Brodzinski, and they don't call it, and it leads to the goal. But at the same time, Igor's got to stop that. At the same time, you got to score 5v5 and do way more for me to be able to get on board with blaming the refs in this game. That's just how it is for me. That's how I am, that I'm not going to be the guy to blame the refs. There are times I will, but this is not one of the times, because like I've been repeating all live stream so far, where was the 5v5 production? Where was it? Because I didn't see it at all in this game. Didn't see it at all. And the metrics just show you the Rangers were terrible in terms of their 5v5 offense all night long, too. That's what's sad. That's what's very sad about this. Zibanejad got opportunities to get quality looks, but he just can't hit the net right now. Just can't hit the net. And the one time that he did hit the net, Bobrovsky stopped it in front of the net, that deflection chance that he got. But the goals that they allowed too, just just terrible. Just terrible. The second one really is the one that aggravates me the most, like outside of the third one. The third one obviously is the one that aggravates me the most, but out of the rest of them, the second one really aggravated me. I mean, Barkov, though, just a great play by him on the first goal, put Miller in a blender. Trocheck was puck watching. Reinhart comes down and he ends up just tapping the puck in. And then they would score not even 3 minutes later. Same group yet again. Barkov just dancing along the boards. Fox just leaves Reinhart wide open in the slot, and he snipes one to make it 2-1. The forward help too just has not been there in terms of defensive play at times as well. And I'm not saying that they played. I mean, they didn't play great defensively in this game, but compared to what they played last game, I will say it was better. But that's a low bar considering last game I did not like their defensive play one bit. So the bar is very, very low there. I thought Lindgren and Fox were brutal all night long. I thought that was easily the worst pair for the Rangers. Schneider actually had like a decent game again, which it's nice to see he's stringing together some decent games, but at the same time, yeah, he needs to, like, if he's the only consistent one, good luck. Good freaking luck. Good luck, because Gustafsson was not great next to him really all night long, so I don't know. And then Trouba just didn't have a good game. Miller had a good game, though, too. I will say Keandre Miller had a very good game, in my opinion. Probably the Rangers' best player of the game. He made a lot of big defensive plays during the game. Had a good short-handed look as well, which was nice to see. But, again, just not good enough. Just not good enough. There's really not much to dissect here. And this is the last game before the deadline. There was a rumor that dropped beforehand, right before puck drop from Larry Brooks, that they're interested in Wenberg and Vetrano over Henrique too. So looks like maybe it's going to be, or I almost said Henrique, who they probably aren't getting. Looks like it might be Wenberg and Vetrano. The Wenberg deal might almost be done considering he was held out of the game tonight for precautionary reasons. So that will be interesting to see if that trade materializes either tonight or tomorrow. And if it does, I will be live whenever the trade breaks, as long as I, of course, am not doing anything when the trade does break. But yeah, I don't know really what more I could add with this game other than the way that the Panthers played in that third period and held on to the lead is the way that I want the Rangers to have looked from the other side and take notes. Take the notepads out and write down stuff and learn how to play the way the Panthers did in the third period. The way that they played that third period was just, I'm jealous. I'm quite frankly jealous of the way the Panthers played that third period. They did not give the Rangers an inch pause in terms of the neutral zone play whatsoever. When the Rangers did get into the offensive zone, not like they got quality chances until like the last minute, and when the goalie was pulled, obviously, they got some chances there late. But outside of that, the Rangers had like nothing, and Florida took the chances that when they could, and they just locked it down. That's the way that you close out a third period, and I'm hoping that the Rangers took notes from that one, because the Panthers, they put on a clinic in terms of the way that they played in the neutral zone all night long. And then they turned their defense into offense too all night long. All night long, their defense was turned into offense. So, yeah, I mean, because they had a lot of rush chances off of their defensive plays. A lot of rush chances. So, I don't really know what more I could add to this game other than it's just infuriating that they start off March now 0-1-1. Start off 0-1-1 when I said for months, this is the month that's really going to tell me a lot. And the first two games, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And now they don't play till the deadline. You got 4 days off. Going to be interesting to see how guys adjust coming into the lineup on Saturday, and that's a 7:30 start. Then they just have back-to-back weeks where they have 4 games in the span of a week, which is just ridiculous. Like, who decided to give them a back-to-back on Monday, Tuesday next week, and then they have a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back within the same week? Just stupid. Just stupid. But I don't know what more there is to say other than the Panthers put on a clinic defensively. It's just that simple. But I'll get to the chat. I don't really have a lot about this game. Not really much to talk about. The Rangers turned the puck over at will in terms of breaking the puck out. The first line didn't show up again at 5v5. Yeah, simple as that. Simple as that. Leave a like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. But let's see what you guys. Oh, by the way, Barclay Goodrow was out there in the last 2 minutes when the team needed a goal. Great coaching. Laviolette pissing me off lately. Laviolette pissing me off lately. Let's see what you guys have to say in chat. And yeah, I agree that their transition game too, the Rangers transition game was horrendous. The Panthers dominated the transition game. They dominated the transition game. There's no really way you could fact check that or measure that other than with your eyeballs. And my eyeballs told me, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat, my eyeballs told me Florida just controlled the game in transition. They dominated them in transition. And yeah, I didn't like the call on the Rempe penalty at all, but again, I can't blame the refs when the team does not score once at 5v5. They didn't score once at 5v5. And I've been questioning this too with Laviolette, with the whole AV thing sitting back in the third period. Yeah, and how many times did those teams finish towards the top of the standings and look at what happened? Look at where it got them. For everyone that tells me, well, they're first. The Rangers won the President's Trophy in 2015, and AV Hockey did not win them a Stanley Cup. And the way that the Rangers play third periods is going to haunt them come playoff time, as we saw tonight, unless there's a change. Unless there's a change. Yeah, I agree. Miller was good tonight. Very simple. Outworked, outplayed at crunch time in the third period. Too many turnovers. Perfect way of putting it. Perfect way of putting it. And I don't know how Igor allowed that goal. Don't know. Do not know. I've been a fan since 73 and seen soft hockey for too many years. You just can't rely on counterattack. You must check the attacking player in their own end. Yeah. I mean, the forecheck was just not there all night. The forecheck was just not there all night. The Rangers really, like, I don't know. Like, they really didn't get a lot off of the forecheck in this game. Really didn't get a lot off of the forecheck. Sorry that if I'm not reading any new chats, by the way, right away. I'm just scrolling through. I'll get to your comments. All right. I'll get to your comments. I apologize. Chat's just moving quick. So we saw the difference between what a cup contender looks like and the Rangers. Just look at how the Panthers defended in the neutral zone, protected a 1-goal lead, and created offensive 5v5. Yep. Yep. Turn the puck over way too much in that third period. It's hard to argue that take. It's hard to argue that take. Panthers played a tight playoff style game, and our top guys were invisible. But we're supposed to believe that this team, I can't speak at all. But we're supposed to believe that this time around it'll be different in the playoffs. That's what I've been saying. And if they prove me wrong, I'll be very happy to be wrong, and I'll be very happy to eat crow on that. But it's just like, it's nights like this where, you know, they play a team like the Panthers, who are a cup favorite, and the top guys just are invisible. Top guys are invisible. A lot of garbage happened this game. Each period was worse than the one before, in my opinion. The officiating was bad, but an untimely bad goal, and no offense in the third period. That's what lost the game. Yeah, they got worse as the game went along too, and Florida just got better. Yeah, simple as that. Yeah, and we've been saying all year what happens when the second line doesn't show up. This will happen in the playoffs if you contain the second line. The Rangers have no threat at offense and 5v5, and it's an early exit. Yeah, they need to. And I like Wenberg. I like Vetrano, but let's be honest here. If I'm wrong again, I'm happy to be wrong, but I just don't know if that's enough of a difference maker. I'd be very happy to be wrong, but I question if that's enough of a difference maker, because it really, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter if Mika's just not going to score. It just does not matter if Mika's not going to score at 5v5. I spent the whole game thinking if our first line was actually good, we could stand up against and even beat this Florida team. And when it came down to it, they did not produce and we lost. I mean, there's other factors too why they lost the game. They didn't play well, really. Or I shouldn't say that the entire group, but like, Lindgren and Fox, that pair had trouble defensively all night. Trouba didn't have a good game at all. Gustafsson was up and down during the game as well. So there were other things that went into them losing the game, and then obviously Igor allowing that goal. But I mean, yeah, if they had some semblance of a first line at 5v5, then yeah, I mean, this team would be this team would definitely be a lot better off. A lot better off. Yeah, not great hockey. Mika invisible again. Yeah, I don't know why Goudreau's. I don't understand why Goudreau keeps playing. He needs to go. He needs to go. And this is the point that I've been making, Michael, because when people say to me, because I get screamed at by this fan base when I say that, and I said it back in January that, and people disagree because they're in first place. How could you not make trades with this team? The reason why I made the argument for it is not because I don't think that, obviously you do make trades when you're in first place, but when your core guys, especially like when the issue is your core guys, it does not really matter the trades that you make. You need improvement internally from especially your number one center. And it's hard. And I get that people are going to say that I should stop being harsh on Zibanejad, this and that, but it's the reality. It's just the reality that this team, like, you can't sit here with a straight face and convince me that this team is winning 16 playoff games with their number one center not scoring at 5v5. There's just no way you could convince me. There's just no way. And sure, maybe new faces could spark a team. Maybe. Yep, Rangers are not good at 5v5. Yeah, the passes were brutal all night too. First line needs to be broken up. Agree. And yeah, a lot of chances in the middle of the slot. A lot of chances in the middle of the slot. In terms of the point with the trade, though, to go back to that point, they're going to make trades regardless. They're going to make trades regardless, so we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, the second period, they looked brutal up in the second period. Like someone commented before, they got progressively worse as the game went along. Yeah, and the Panthers showed why I've been saying that, in my opinion, they're the Cup favorite right now, and why they look like the best. Why I think they're easily the best team in the East. Yeah, Drury will make trades. We might get one tomorrow. Not sure though. Rangers have zero answer against the trap. Yep. Pretty much. If Igor doesn't stand on his head, Rangers go home in the first round. I've said that before, but I don't know. This is why when people get excited about us winning the cup, I can't. I can't. It's obvious that they don't watch a lot of hockey. We are beating teams. We're not beating teams like the Panthers in a 7-game series like this. I mean, yeah, I agree that they're not beating the Panthers in a 7-game series. No, they're not. This team needs to stop with the up the board passing out of the D zone. Need to stop with the stupid flip passes out of the D zone and just skate up the ice. More importantly, stop the no look passes. Yeah, completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. Let's see, what else do we have? I mean, the chat is moving quick. You guys are killing it tonight. We have 80 of you in here. Leave a like if you haven't already, too. Yeah, you can't give up poor goals and win. I agree. $30 in 5-on-5, but let's not split them up. I'm questioning Laviolette's decision there. I cannot, and the fact that good on Vince Mercogliano for asking Peter Laviolette about Mika and Kreider, and the fact that he still believes in those two boggles my mind. It boggles my mind that he believes in those two staying together. They need to be split up. It's time. It's time. Wasn't Gallant fired because of not adjusting during games? Same thing is happening now. That's why I've been starting to question if this is a puppeteer situation where Drury's having a say on certain things. I don't want to speculate that entirely because I have zero info on that, but it's pretty sus that no coach is seeing this with Kreider and Zibanejad, especially. That no coach is seeing this. But there was no strategical adjustment either. You guys are not wrong about that. I can't even defend Laviolette in this game. There was no strategic blah blah blah. There was no strategical changes in the game plan. There was none. And yeah, that again, like you and I both agree that maybe he's making 8.5, but still, I mean, the point is like the point that I don't get is why people are defending him because he plays good defensive hockey, which yeah, that's great that Mika plays good in his own end. I'm not going to complain about that, but he's making 8.5 million. First of all, you need to put the puck in the net. Second of all, people want to drive Kakko out of town when he has good defensive metrics and when he everyone views highly of him as a defensive player. Everyone's ready to drive him out of town, but for some reason, when you point that out with Mika Zibanejad, that you know he's not producing offensively, who's making 8.5 million, it's a problem. I don't get it. Too many turnovers. It's hard to argue that argument right now, Jason. It's hard to argue it. How do the Rangers continually try to feed cross ice passes against the most aggressive slash defense defense slash forecheck and not expect to get it intercepted? Your guess is as good as mine. And again, zero adjustment. Zero adjustment. Most discouraged I've been with this group defensively was fine, but no 5v5 offense. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't see your post, Iceman, that you want me to put up. Unless you put a new one in. I don't see any posts from you, Iceman. Yeah, I'm Iceman. I don't see your post. You could re-comment it, and I'll put it up. Team needs killer instinct. Needs to come from Meek and Kreider. Yeah, can't go into a third period tie with it and even chance to win the game and not compete. Yeah, there was just no compete. There wasn't in the third. Rangers have to be one of the slowest teams in the NHL. The transition games just stunk. The transition games stunk. I haven't been happy with Laviolette's decisions lately. I haven't. Laviolette not happy in the presser. What did Laviolette say tonight? Can anybody tell me what Laviolette said tonight? See if there's anything else here. Um, yeah, how's Mika March going? Good question. I I question this even if Zibanejad's gonna play better if he does get split up. I don't know. Laviolette needs to call him out. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious what he said now. And yeah, I mean, Kreider's always been consistently inconsistent. I agree with that. And yeah, like you could blame some of those things like the poor goal and the officiating, but there are bigger issues here that like big picture, there's bigger issues. Even if Igor never lets in a softie, they cannot score 5-5 and they cannot shut down. Yeah. Well, Laviolette mentioned the missed call right before the third goal, but stated that when Florida locked it down, we couldn't get the puck behind their D and generate any offense. He looked visibly frustrated. I mean, part of that's on you, coach. Like, part of that's on you. You gotta be making an adjustment there. I'm glad he's calling them out, but like he's got to make an adjustment there. If you notice that, like, and there just wasn't an adjustment at all. There just wasn't. And yeah, Mika's not getting chopped. He has the no move clause. Does not matter. Yeah, I'd like them to get guys like Lomberg in the lineup. I'd like that, but they're interested in Kyle Pozo. Interesting, Kyle Pozo. Yeah, I hope Kako stays too, but I don't know. I mean, the fact that he played tonight does give me some hope that he is going to stay because I feel like they wouldn't have utilized him tonight and they would have protected him in case of an injury if they were going to trade him. And I agree that Kako. Listen, Kako's never going to be what he's never going to live up to the number 2 overall pick status. It's just that simple. It's unfortunate. He's never going to live up to that status. And I'll put my hand up and say that I was wrong about a lot of things with Kako, but he's still a quality NHL player, in my opinion. I know people don't like him at all, but I still I still think he's a quality player. Like Statboy Steven put in this perspective that if Kaapo Kakko wasn't a Ranger and didn't have the number 2 overall pick status, they'd view highly. The Rangers would view that type of player highly and be looking for that type of player at the deadline right now. Apparently, they took calls about Alex Tuch, though, which, by the way, I would move Kakko in a Tuch deal. That's for sure. And that's a fair question, but I don't want to speculate that much, Michael. I don't want to speculate that. And yeah, I don't know why this team gives out no move clauses nonstop. Sev Gensel, they're interested in Okposo. Ridiculous. Tuck and Fogel, you all know they ain't happening. Yeah. I don't think they're getting Eberle. For some reason, Ron Francis insists that Eberle plays his 1,000th game with Seattle, which I cannot understand that. You've been a franchise for 3 seasons now. It's not like he was drafted by you. It's not like he's some franchise legend. Like, why is it that they have to have such sentimental value there? I don't get that, but it's whatever. It's whatever. Keenan shook things in 94 at the deadline, even while in first place. Don't think that's going to happen here. Don't think that's going to happen here. But that's what needs to really happen here, realistically. But don't think it's going now. I saw something on Twitter that he's dealing with a lawsuit with his burger place in Sweden and dealing with being a new parent. I mean, listen, I get that that could have a mental impact on you, but I'm sorry to Mika Zibanejad. If it's bothering him that much, then he needs to go into the player assistance program or he needs to take a mental leave of absence. That's obviously his decision. That's his decision, nobody else's. But if it's truly getting to him mentally that bad, then just take a seat and get better mentally. Because not only like outside of it hurting the team, it's only going to hurt his mental health more because you're dealing with that. You're dealing with, maybe some stress still of being a parent. And then on top of that, you're not performing well at your job. That could impact you mentally too. Like forget hockey for a second in terms of just like him performing poorly. If it's affecting him mentally, him playing bad, then he needs to take a leave of absence. But again, that's not my place to speak on if it's affecting him that bad mentally. That's not for me to speak on. And yeah, I'm not going to disagree with this argument that people say, oh, they should have drafted this guy. They should have drafted this guy. Those were the consensus picks. They were going to take them regardless. I would not. I don't know if I'd love this trade. I don't know how much I'd like that trade. Yeah, I'd like Yanni Gord or Riley Smith. I don't think either are happening. I'm pretty confident in saying that it's going to be Wenberg and Vetrano, at least based on what we know at this point. When Larry Brooks says something when it comes to Rangers, when it comes to the Rangers organization, and in terms of targets, usually he's on the money and he's the closest to the organization. The fact that he's hearing that type of stuff that he dropped today, that says a lot. Yeah, Schneider's been good lately. Who do I think the Rangers play in the first round? Probably Detroit as of now. Yeah, probably Detroit or Tampa. The way the Panthers execute a perfect lockdown defense in the third period, especially once taking the lead, is something the Rangers can't do. Yeah. It feels like AV hockey, like we talked about earlier in the post game here. Lindgren defensively has been so bad this year, and he's going to be hard to re-sign because he wants a raise. Gudis is better defensively and will hit and violent. Only thing I'd be afraid of is morale. It's a fair point. I mean, I don't know, like how much is Gudis getting paid? I looked at it last time and I forgot. But you do make a fair point with that. 4 million, like that's the only thing. I like if it was even just a million or two less, I'd be more intrigued. But like, oh, maybe I wouldn't hate it as much as you're when you put it that way. The thing that more so I'm worried about is moving Kako in terms of just creating another hole in the forward group. But it's not the worst idea, what you mentioned. Yeah, I don't know how he hasn't scored 5v5 since December. No clue. They're gonna make deadline moves. They're gonna make deadline moves. There's already reports that they're going to. Whether we like it or not, whether we think it's dumb that they're overpaying or not, they're gonna make moves. And I agree, it doesn't make sense to make a Kako deal unless you're getting a right winger with term, especially. Like you have control on Kako. He's an RFA after the year. I feel like you got to get something of more significant value back, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do with that. Rangers need to force Truba and Mika to waive their clauses if the playoffs go bad. I don't disagree. I mean, Truba especially, I think, is a guy that needs to go. I feel that he's holding back Miller of what Miller could actually be at times. And don't get me wrong, that's not to take away from the fact that Miller does make some just dumb mistakes sometimes. But Truba's brutal. His no move clause lightens up to a modified one, so that will make it easier to move him if the Rangers do want to explore that. But I don't think that's going to happen either. And yeah, I mean, Johnny Red, I know some of you have said it even in my chat years ago that, you know, you don't think this team is tough enough mentally and you think there's issues. And I disagreed back then. And I'll put my hand up and eat crow that, like, yeah, I mean, you guys, a lot of you look to be right. And I see it more and more this year than I have ever before. I see it more and more. It's hard to not unsee it once you see it. And I agree, Wenberg and Vetrano don't put them on over the top. I don't think they're going to give up Rempe or Edstrom in a deal. I don't think so. And yeah, it was one of the most frustrating games. I said mentally weak during the Pittsburgh series a few years back. That's fair. That's fair. And, you know, last year I tried to convince myself otherwise, especially when they went up 2-0 against New Jersey. And I was so convinced that they were just going to dominate that postseason, and they choked the 2-0 lead again. I agree that Kako might go. Kako might go come the deadline, although maybe not, since it looks like they might not do a package deal of Vetrano and Henrique. Maybe that they're doing that because it lightens up the package price. But I could be wrong. I'm going to wrap things up here, though. Sorry that I'm ending early. I'm not feeling 100% right now, so I'm going to end things here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Leave a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll be live if a trade breaks. I'll be live, like I said, as long as I'm not busy. And then deadline day, obviously, I'm going to do a big live stream. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Turn on your notifications for it. Again, leave a like if you have not already. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications. I'm repeating myself at this point. And thank you, Johnny Red. I appreciate that. I do my best to be honest and just call it how it is. I don't see any benefit of just, you know, being extreme to the other, just like, you know, being biased with this hockey team. That's just not how I am. But again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys whether trade breaks or if not on deadline day. I'll see you guys then. So thank you guys for tuning in.